trail that I was working on yesterday. So let's kind of take a look at this, right?
I don't think it makes sense that it takes us 3 to 5 years to develop housing. I think what kills projects most often is just time.
Why does it take so long to build housing?
I think the number one driver is how long it takes us to put together the financing. I mean, I call it the alphabet soup of affordable housing development. You'll hear people say IIG and MHSA and MHP and ASIC, and it's just all of these different acronyms. And each of those programs
Programs oftentimes
oftentimes
are
are on
on.
separate application schedules, have different requirements about how far you have to be in your design or your entitlements in order to be competitive. And so what folks like Jan Marie's job is to do is to figure out how do we line that up in the most efficient way possible. I'm sure you've had other developers on here that have talked about if you miss one of those cycles, it's not like it is market rate where you go to another vendor or have another conversation and you're back on track in 3 months. Oftentimes, either not being competitive or not getting an application in means that you're adding another 6, 9,
9,
12
12
months
months.
onto these developments. And so it's really helping cities understand that the part that they can control, which is how quickly they approve our project, is really, really critical to getting us to that phase where the actual work is happening. We're putting together the different financing. I would say once we're in construction, generally we operate pretty similar to a market rate. We have time requirements that we have to hit. Generally, pouring foundation takes the same amount of time on an affordable project as it does a market rate project. It's really that 2 to 3 years of cobbling together those tens of millions of dollars of gap financing that take a really long time, especially in a financial environment right now where money's just really tight.
How does Jamboree finance your development?
Finance. So let's see. At so two things, right? One is
They approve our project is really, really critical to getting us to that phase where the actual work is happening. We're putting together the different financing. I would say once we're in construction, generally we operate pretty similar to a market rate.
let's put at 125, put in parentheses development after market rate. Development after market rate. So we can tell people that's what we're referring to. And then afterwards, what we need to do is I would delete after,
Requirements that we have to hit.
delete from.
Generally, pouring foundation takes the same amount of time on an affordable project as it does a market rate project. It's really that 2 to 3 years of cobbling together those tens of millions of dollars of gap financing that take a really long time, especially in a financial environment right now where money's just really tight.
How does Jamboree finance?
And at 147, at 147, what I want to do is make sure that we say finance. 147, finance, not refinance. Let's see.
I would say 80% of what we do is transactions, but that's starting to change a little bit as those programs become more and more oversubscribed or there's a lack of soft financing. But we are a light tech developer, first and foremost. Jamboree is a leader in the development of permanent supportive housing throughout the state of California. On a market rate development, if I'm going in, I factor in my land, I see what my market rate study tells me I can support on rents in places like Orange County. That's going to be anywhere from $2,500 for a studio to $5,000 a month for a 3-bedroom. You put that into your pro forma, and then you go to the bank and you get a conventional loan. And it's a straight debt and equity transaction. And as long as those numbers match up, you're in business. But as you mentioned, I don't get to charge $2,500 for a studio or $5,000 for a 3-bedroom. We're looking at rents that can
Be as low as $300 a month.
depending on the level of affordability. So, just looking at just those two next to each other, for $2,500 versus $300, I've got already a $2,200 gap on just one unit. And if you multiply that across the
Okay, gap. Instead of saying government subsidy pays, $2,200 per unit. Gap financing equals looking for subsidies or favorable terms to cover $/unit all units in a development. Total to yeah. So we got to take out the part which is government subsidy because I think that's clear, right? If we were to cover $2,200 per unit, let's see. Let's see. All right. So now that you got at 250, the verbiage should be housing $2,500 / rent month, affordable rent. Example, $300. Gap.
Just those two next to each other, $2,500 versus $300. I've got already a $2,200 gap on just one unit. And if you multiply that across the life of the project, the size of the project, you can see how those gaps start to become millions and millions of dollars very, very quickly. When we think about community outreach, what comes to mind is like big community room and everyone's screaming and yelling at you. And that's definitely a part of the community outreach process. But the community outreach process is also sitting down with church leaders and talking to them about your project and getting their buy-in early on
Okay.
so that they'll show up at the community meetings and talk about the importance of providing housing to lower income people. It's getting with your business community that is also sitting down big community room in every project. The size of the project, you can see how those gaps start to become millions and millions of dollars very, very quickly. When you think about community outreach, what comes to mind is like big community room and everyone's screaming and yelling at you. And that's definitely a part of the community outreach process. But the community outreach process is also sitting down with church leaders and talking to them about your project and getting their buy-in early on so that they'll show up at the community meetings and talk about the importance of providing housing to lower income people. It's getting with your business community that is having a hard time recruiting those entry level jobs because people can't afford to live here and work entry level jobs unless there's affordable housing. It's very impactful when you have a major job provider in a community show up and say, I support this because my workers need a place to live. So community outreach is also going out and finding your supporters. It's being proactive and getting out to the community. I think that when you educate people on what affordable housing is and how it benefits the community, you'll be surprised by the amount of people that are willing to come along with you in that. And then the question that I often pose to whatever angry group of residents are standing there yelling at me is,
This is a great
which
trailer.
of these jobs do you want to not have in your community? Do you want to give up nail tech, being able to go to a nail tech? Do you want to be able to give up going to the grocery store? Do you want to be able to give up somebody showing up at your house when you call 911 or a dispatcher picking up the phone when you call 911? And the answer is most of the time they don't want to give up any of that. So if we don't want to give up those really important jobs in our community, then we have to create housing for those folks to be able to live in our community.
Okay, that's a great trailer. Okay, got it. So, boom. difference. Okay, so that's what we're going to change it to. So I want to make sure I'm specific around the verbiage right here. I don't think this is a great explanation. I think this is how we explain it. All right, thank you. Hope everybody has a great day. Happy President's Day. Hope you're enjoying day off if you are. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow for day 871. Have a good one, everybody.